Welcome to Day 12 of the KobeCloud 100 Days of DevOps Challenge. In today's session, we're diving into Linux network services. This is an essential skill for any DevOps engineer because managing network services properly ensures your servers are secure, reachable, and functioning efficiently. Throughout this video, I'll show you how to check which services are running on your Linux server, use tools like Netstat and Telnet to troubleshoot network issues, identify ports in use and resolve conflicts, open ports safely using iptables, ensure services are reachable from remote systems. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have a solid understanding of how to manage Linux network services and ensure that your applications are reachable across your infrastructure. Let's jump in and get started with Day 12.
All right, let's get started. First, we need to log into App Server 1. From our jump host, I'm going to connect using SSH as the user Tony. This will allow us to access the server where we'll be managing the network services. So on my terminal, I type shtony at stap01. Once connected, we're now inside the server and ready to start checking the running services and network configuration. Always make sure you have the correct credentials and permissions before performing administrative tasks on any server. Now that we're logged into App Server 1 as Tony, the first step is to check the status of the Apache HTTP service. I run the command sudo systemctl status httpd. I enter the password for the Tony user, and I can see that the service has failed to start. The error message indicates that port 8088 is already in use. This is a common issue in Linux servers when another service is already using the same port that Apache wants to listen on. To investigate further, I use the netstat command. Sudo netstat lntp yours grep yets 8088. This shows me which service is currently bound to port 8088. In this case, it turns out that sendmail is the service using the port. Since we need port 8088 free for Apache, I stop sendmail with sudo systemctl stop sendmail. Then, I verify again with netstat. Sudo netstat lntp grep e8088. Now the port is free, and we're ready to start Apache. With port 8088 now free, the next step is to verify Apache's configuration. I open the main Apache configuration file using the vi editor, sudo vi /etc /httpd /conf /httpd.conf. Inside the file, I look for the listen directive to confirm which port Apache is configured to use. It already shows listen 8088, which is the correct port, so no changes are needed. I exit the editor, eskeys.wq, enter. Now that the configuration is correct and the port is available, I restart the Apache service to apply the changes. Sudo systemctl restart HTTPD. I check the status again. Sudo systemctl status HTTP. This time, the service is active and running. To double-check which service is using port 8088, I run sudo netstat lntp yash grep 8088. It confirms that HTTPD is now listening on port 8088, which means Apache is successfully running on the correct port. With Apache running correctly on port 8088, the next step is to check the firewall rules to ensure that traffic can reach the service from the jump host. I run sudo iptables ln. This shows the current input rules. I notice that port 8088 is not explicitly allowed, and all other traffic rules are set to 0.0.0.0/0 or default policies. To allow incoming traffic to port 8088, I insert a rule in the iptables input chain. Sudo iptables I input 1 plytcp dport 8088j accept. This adds the rule at the top, ensuring it takes priority over any default reject rules. Now, the firewall is configured correctly, and Apache is accessible externally. To verify, I go back to the jump host and run curl http ja stap 01:8088. This returns the web page content successfully. I also test connectivity using Telnet. Telnet stap 018088. The connection establishes without any errors, confirming that Apache is reachable from the jump host. At this point, the lab is complete. Apache is running, listening on the correct port, firewall rules are properly configured, and the service is accessible remotely. All network checks are done using standard tools like Netstat and Telnet, as expected in this DevOps exercise.